Hi Leo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your February 14th, 2022 Valentine's Day reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading and before we begin this meditation, I want to thank each and every one of you for your healing wishes, for your positive healing energy as I was healing and still am healing from the concussion that I suffered. I slipped, I fell, I hit my head. I didn't think it was going to be a big thing. I thought I could just walk it off, and that was absolutely not the case. So thank you all so very much. It was actually a very scary time, and it still is a healing time, and a bit frustrating time. So thank you all so very much for all that energy, all that healing. You guys are absolutely wonderful, and I am so thankful for the community that we have. All right, now with that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's wipe the wand dust away and see what the tarot has to say. Leo, February 14th, 2022, Leo, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. 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 We have a bit of a new setup here, so let me know how you guys like it. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the Hangman. So we're starting to see things very differently. And this is going to be a bit of a different Valentine's Day for us. And it doesn't mean that it has to be one that isn't as good as all the other Valentine's Days. But it's a day where we're looking at the energy of love that surrounds this day. So this day is a day marked on our calendars, put in our, media, in our, way of selling and producing. This is a day focused on love and of the heart and of, accumulation of things that make us feel special. And so we're going to be looking at this day a little bit differently than we had been before. And there's going to be Libra energy here. So we have justice coming in. Now, this can be Libra energy, and this is also going to be a sense of balance coming in. So if we have Libra within our natal chart, this is coming through very powerfully during this time. Libra is also ruled by Venus. Venus is, of course, the name of the goddess for love in Greek mythology, and also our idea of love, that kind of beautiful Venus, that kind of beautiful, entity of power and seduction. Venus is actually Roman. Aphrodite is Greek, so I do apologize about that. Now, our inner self, we have the Hermit, which is Virgo energy. So if we're born on the cusp with Virgo, just as if we have Libra within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully here at our root. In our inner selves, we have that Virgo energy coming through very strongly. So if we have that within our natal chart, if we have that at our root, we're going to, if we're born on the cusp with it, we're going to find that sense of turning inward, of looking at what is really needed and not hoarding away what we think is important, is going to be quite a powerful thing for us. We have the Nine of Cups, so there's a sense of beauty and prosperity, which is coming forward. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And as we have that energy of, moving towards what we love, what we desire, where it is that we want to be, we're going to see new doorways, new pathways, new understandings really start to open to us. But we also have to be very mindful, especially with the astrological alignment of this time, that we're not simply rushing into things. We're not saying, oh, this is what love should be because that's what people say it is, or that's what I hoped it would be. We're going to be looking at things and saying, what do I need? Where do I desire my love coming forward? What is important to me? What isn't important to me? And it moves us to our emotional self, and our emotional self has the Death card, which is Scorpio energy coming forward. That's important. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto plays a factor during this time, astrologically speaking. So we're going to be seeing that. There's a sense of betrayals that come forward, but also seeing who's on our side and who isn't, and a real connection with love. So there can be a real healing of the heart during this time that is really quite powerful for us. But there's also this sense of transformation towards what I love, what I need, where it is that I want to be, what it is that I want to move forward in, what it is that I've been desiring. It moves us to our public arena self. And we have here the Three of Wands and then the Three of Cups once again. The Three of Wands is looking out at new horizons. The Three of Cups, for me, it's not only that beauty of who I love, who I trust, who are my friends, who's my circle, right? My people that I rely on, but it's also who is it that I've tried to impress, that I've tried to get their attention, that I've tried to be enough for, and that I can never live up to their expectations. What is it that I've gone through that is challenging and overwhelming and intense? And how am I looking at myself now? The repeat of the number 3 in the public arena means that divinity is walking with us. And this is a time of love. And so often we forget that it's not just a time of having somebody special to go out to dinner with, or to, exchange cards with, or chocolates or flowers or whatever. It is a time where we need to embrace the love of the heart and the soul, the passion of the self, and the discovery of where it is that we really want to be within our lives. This is a day where love is important, and it's a day that makes us look at love. And it can be that we're starting to look at that love quite differently than we've had before. And that's really quite powerful. Now let's look at the energy that we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. The Queen of Wands. Now we are represented by the Wands in the minor arcana. We are represented by the Strength card in the major arcana. We have to be mindful of getting in our own way during this time, and also believing that the passion of things is the only place that love can ever be. So it's really following the erotic, the egos, love that comes, and that comes in a place where how you talk about people, or we might be one of those people that loves falling in love, that initial falling in love, and you get so starry-eyed when you talk about it, and it's so beautiful. We see that all the time, and we've definitely all been there, right? But the dopamine that kicks off in our brain when we first fall in love lasts 6 months. After those 6 months, we start to level out. And so here, and we go back to our baseline happiness, our baseline, place of contentment. And what we have to realize here is that we might be chasing, as fire sign energies we tend to do, that initial burst of pleasure, of intensity, of brilliance, of connection, right? And that is a beautiful place to be, but it's not the only place to be. And so in Greek teachings, right, in ancient Greek teachings, they have the eros love, which is where we get the word erotic from. They have the familial love, and they have the agape love. Now, agape love is the love that Christ had when he died on the cross. So that is like the ultimate, idea of love. The family love is a love of connection. And we have to look at all those loves and say, where do I want to stand within my life? Do I want to strive for the agape love, for the love of all, no matter what? Do I want to live within the familial love and strive for that familial love, to strive for the caring and connection of my family and those who have become like family to me? Or do we want to chase, as our society has us chasing, the erotic love, the love that lasts for a certain amount of time and then dies off, so we have to go on to the next and the next and the next? It's almost as if, and it might sound rather cynical of me to say, but it's almost as if we're being set up for failure. The idea of love that we're being shown is not one that is sustainable. And so here on this Valentine's Day, on this day that has for years now been synonymous with love and connection and hearts and feelings and being special, we have to look at what that specialness means to us and how we start to move forward in the love that we want within our world and within ourselves. It moves us to our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. And this is self-mastery. Self-mastery is the solar plexus chakra. And the solar plexus chakra is what is at, the center of who we are. From our gut, which is like our second brain, we have this knowledge, this insight, this power that comes forward. Are we feeding it correctly? Are we harming ourselves in one way or another? Are we aligning ourselves with what we truly want and what we truly desire? Or are we trying to be what other people expect us to be? This is a time where we need to look at us with openness and with honesty, because on the 14th of February, we have the waxing gibbous moon, which is all about action. And this moon is in Leo. So Leo, this really calls to us in a way that is just so powerful. Now, we are also going to have the full moon on the 16th, just a few days away. And that full moon is in Leo. So we have the action of the gibbous moon coming forward. We have our own personal tendency towards action that is coming forward. And when the moon is waxing, it is progressing towards that full moon, which means that the energy around us is all about focusing on the completion of goals and how we are progressing in our lives, how we are moving forward. The moon is also opposite Pluto, and we have the Pluto energy of the death card right here, of Scorpio, right here in our hearts. And this means that intense hidden emotions rise to the surface and demand our attention. Our feelings are not only intense, but they are complex, and we need to look at them. We need to acknowledge them. We need to understand them during this time. The moon is opposite Mercury, and we have the Knight of Swords coming through. The Knight of Swords is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Libra, of course, amplifying here at our root, but Gemini energy is ruled by Mercury, as is Virgo energy, which we have right here, right? With the Hermit. So that Virgo energy is really quite strong. That Mercury energy is really quite strong here. And the moon opposite Mercury says that we can appear outwardly cheerful. We put that smile on our face, everything is fine. But inside, there's a fragility that needs to be acknowledged, that needs to be seen. We need to be seen. During this time, on this day, we need to see ourselves. We need to connect with ourselves. We need to know what we desire, want, need, strive for, long for. And that's why we're starting to see things differently than we have before. That's why we're looking at things and saying, there's more. There's more to this than meets the eye. There's more to me than I ever knew. There's more that I need to move forward with. And that becomes quite powerful for us, because it's bringing us to this place where, yes, it might turn things on their heads. Yes, we could find that we are seeking out wisdom and knowledge to sacrifice, like Odin did in Norse mythology, to be able to obtain greater sight. We lose something that we thought was important. He hung upside down from the tree of life. He lost an eye to gain sight that was far more seeing than his would ever be. When we look at what it is that we truly want and what we truly need, we're looking for a love and a connection that is so much more than what we're being sold is what we want, is what the world thrives off of. And that brings us to justice, that brings us to balance, that brings us to a place of finding understanding within ourselves, cutting through negativity, cutting through anger, cutting through fears, and saying, this is the energy that is just for me. This is the power, the alignment, the beauty that is just for me, and I need to move forward in it. I need to embrace it. I need to see what is right, not for everybody else, but for me. And it's not being selfish, it is being aware. And as we are aware, we turn inward. Now, as we turn inward, we have the Hermit coming up, and the Hermit here is the dragon guarding his gold. And I always thought it was quite funny. In college, I studied medieval studies, and so often you would read stories and allegories about the dragon guarding its gold. And what would a lizard need with gold? And a dragon is the scariest thing that we have, right? The serpent that slithers through the grass, and yet the winged beast that can come down upon us. So we have the idea of the dragon, and the idea of the dragon is quite intense and terrifying. But why does it always take what we as human beings give so much value to? Why is it taking what we think is important instead of what the dragon thinks is important? Because the dragon is taking what we most value. And it's making us see what we most value, gold and maidens and whatever else that the dragon is demanding. So what is it that as we turn inward, we're demanding that we hoard onto, that we hold onto and hoard within ourselves and not let go, and have this be the only way it could ever be? Instead of it being that we turn inward and we see the light that guides us forward. We see the intensity that leads us to something more. We start to understand ourselves and guide ourselves forward. And it brings us to the Nine of Cups. It brings us to a place where we start to look at what we wish for, what we desire. And it doesn't matter if we're looking for a relationship, if we're single, if we're in a relationship and have been for 30 years. It doesn't matter if we're perfectly happy, being alone, or we, don't want a relationship or a monogamous relationship at all. We're looking at what we wish for, what we desire. We're looking at the way that we see love and the way that we pull that love forward within our lives, and the way that we're guiding ourselves towards something that is more than we ever thought that we could expect. And so the heart comes forward, and we start to embrace the heart. We start to see the heart. We start to see what we love. And again, wishes start coming into our sphere of being. We start to see ourselves more and more. We start to see what it is that we desire, want, and need. And as we do so, we realize I cannot hold onto it. I cannot be like the fat cat, sitting there with all their, with the cream and everything like that, and being like, it's mine and I will never share. It's like, how do I bring this forward? How do I connect? How does the world connect in love and beauty and just sheer understanding? And it brings us to the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is the energy of action. It is the energy of cutting through doubts and fears and negativity and saying, this is how I want to move forward. This is how I need to move forward. This is what's intrinsically important to me. It's also the energy of rushing. We can very much be in a sphere of, it needs to be done now. If it's not shown this way, then nobody loves me, then nobody cares for me, then, it's not what I thought it was. We need to take our expectations off the table if we haven't already conveyed them to somebody else, and then say what comes forward is what I desire, what I need, which sounds interesting that Spirit puts it that way, that we take our expectations off the table if we haven't stated them, and then see what comes forward and see how we needed that within our lives, how we needed the energy of somebody else's form of affection, how we need the energy of our own standing within our being, ourselves, and what we desire to guide us, to lead us, to help us, to move us. And it moves us to this transformation of the heart. It moves us to being guided by Spirit in a way that we hadn't expected. It moves us to seeing and understanding ourselves more and more and more. But we're going to see that during this time, we are transformed and we are transforming. We're going to see that the door is opening, but we're also going to mourn the dying away of the old self and the rebirth of the new. The sense of there is more to my heart and more to myself than even I realized. And as I acknowledge the transformation of my being, I embrace the beauty and the power that is me. And that transformation of being comes forward as we look at the pains that we're still holding on to, the people that we've been trying to impress that will never care about us, or the people who hold sway in our lives and yet don't show up for us. And as we look at the Three of Cups, we start to see also the people who have always stood by our side, always celebrated us. Not the ones who were supposed to raise the cup but just couldn't, but also the people who raised the cup and who stood by our sides and who loved us and cared for us and connected with us. And in a way, how they were overlooked at times. And it moves us to that reconnection of love, that reconnection of caring and beauty and healing. And the Two of Cups is unity. It's the unity of love, and we tend to think of love again in the erotic sense, but let us expand our definition. Let us see the beauty and intensity that love truly is. And let us embrace that wholeheartedly, whether it be romantically or through friendship or through, family. It does not matter. There is this real sense of I am embracing the unity of love within this world, and I am helping it to move me forward by calling it into my life, by embracing it at my soul and core of my being. It brings us then to the Three of Wands, and it says action, adventure, luck, and then it repeats like a mantra, action, adventure, luck. And we love that. We love when the doors open, Leo. We love when we walk out into the world and we see things really starting to align, really starting to move us forward, really starting to come the way that we want it. And during this time, we're going to have those type of moments of passion and beauty and insight. But it's also, how am I moving forward towards where I truly want to be within my life, towards what's absolutely intrinsically important to me, to guide me forward, to lead me to something more than I had anticipated or realized that I really wanted. And it brings us then to the Three of Cups, which here says family, friends, joy, abundance, family, friends, joy, abundance, surrounded with us like a mantra. And so here we start to look at the family that we have, the friends that we have, the abundance that is a part of our lives, the beauty that starts to guide us forward. We're not looking at pleasing those who will never be pleased. We're looking at embracing the power of the heart and the beauty of the soul that guides us to so much more than we ever realized. And it's a day to celebrate love. And let us celebrate that love. At a subconscious level, at our root, we have the moon, Pisces energy. The moon plays very prominently here for us as the moon is in Leo. And so here we're looking at our fears and our doubts, our growths around love, what it is that we desire, what it is that we don't. And it brings us then to our subconscious inner self, which is the Page of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It is us being a student of our heart and what we desire. It's us looking at our passion and what guides us forward and saying what is right for me, what is healthy for me, and what isn't. What leads me, what, builds me up, and what tries to rip me down. I look at things now as a student. And as I look at things as a student, we realize that we do not have to have the answers. We do not have to know everything. We are learning, we are discovering, and we'll be doing so for the rest of our lives. It brings us then to our subconscious emotional self. And that is the Queen of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Cutting through doubts and fears and negativity, the Queen of Swords is the most masculine of the queens. Because she says, I have earned this, I have worked towards this, I have brought this forward. And so I am being guided towards more. And I will not be held back, step back, deny myself. The Queen of Swords is cutting through all the negativity within our lives. It is having the mind and the heart start to come together. Some days this will be better than others, but it is a real sense of this is my emotion, my love, my passion, myself. I see it, I speak it, and I move forward, surrounded in my third eye, surrounded in what it is I need to see for me and what it is that I am discovering, acknowledging, abounding by within myself. It moves us to our subconscious public arena self, and that is the King of Pentacles. Here it says reliable, visionary, and generous. And so we move forward in the words of reliability, of structure, stability, of visionary, of being able to see more, and of influence within our own lives, within our own selves. Generosity of spirit and generosity of who we are and what we want. We're starting to see ourselves embrace our throne of prosperity, our throne built from the earth, our throne connected to the earth, of who we are and what we love and what we desire from our lives and for ourselves. It leads us to a place of power, to a place of determination, of focus, of insight. It brings us to the energy we need to be mindful of during this time, which is the King of Pentacles. It is relying too much on the value system of others, relying too much of, okay, you see this person as being more valuable than this person because of XYZ. And it's looking at how does the heart connect? What does the emotion feel? And it doesn't mean that we go for the person who is the deadbeat, who is the abuser, who is the person who can't get their lives together, because we have this connection to them. And so people will value that person differently. It is the person that we are connecting with now, not out of the arbitrary, prosperity scheme of others, but in the sense of, what is the prosperity I want within my life? What is the growth and the abundance that I need within my soul for myself? And how do I lead me forward to more than I have imagined that I can have? And it brings us to our subconscious chakra energy, and that's psychic development. That is the third eye chakra opening up. And that is knowing to trust our instincts, to trust our ideas, to trust, what we truly desire within our lives and for ourselves, to listen to that voice of guidance, to connect ourselves to our spiritual wisdom and not close the door, which is what our world so often tells us to do. If it's not backed up by, whatever, it isn't valuable. It doesn't matter. And Spirit is saying, I whisper to you. I guide you. I lead you in ways that sometimes seem, roundabout and confusing and overwhelming. But I'm always there with you. We just have to start listening. All right, Leo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let us end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power of what we adore, the power of love and connection and beauty and transformation, and as we call forward this power into our lives every step of the way. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Leo, and may you have a blessed Valentine's Day.